show in Northwest Indiana. News, sports, education, and entertainment. Wake Up GI with Jeffrey Smith. Brought to you by the Gary Community Schools Corporation.
All right, everybody, we are back on a beautiful Thursday. It is the 26th of October, 2023, and this is Wake Up GI with Jeffrey Smith. Once again, I want to give a shout out to Frida and David. Really enjoyed that conversation. We're about to continue some positivity because I get to introduce and I get to meet a gentleman who is a Gary native, what I'm assuming, and his name is Mr. Alex Dunlap. He is, of course, the proprietor, I believe, of around-the-clock ambulance service. You don't really hear that a lot. As I said in the teaser at the beginning of the show, I was very interested in talking with him because, you know, obviously none of us want to think about the prospect of needing an ambulance, but trust me, when you do need one, it's great to know that that service is available, and particularly in your community, because we've seen some instances in which there's been outsourced and things of that nature. And so I'm very interested to talk to this gentleman and find out exactly what he's up to. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and put him on the mic now. And of course, what's going on, Mr. Dunlap?
Hey, good morning, Jeffrey. Yeah, thanks for having me on this morning.
Absolutely. Before we get into kind of your business, kind of give us a little bit of background yourself. We're going to start from the bottom and kind of work our way up.
From the bottom to the top. Isn't that a rap song?
Yeah, it sure is. Don't act like you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Right, absolutely. Well, good morning again, everyone. My name is Alex Dunlap III. And I like to say the third because my father is still out here literally kicking. So.
Exactly. Don't do him like that. And plus, I'll be honest with you, it sounds more distinguished.
It does. It does.
Alex Dunlap III.
Very coupon. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm a native Gary, born and raised. Went to Westside High School.
Okay. I went to Roosevelt.
You went to Roosevelt?
Yeah, I know my school doesn't exist anymore, but we still have a little bit of pride in this show.
Well, your school exists in my home because my wife went to Roosevelt.
All right, there you go. All right, thank you. You've endeared yourself to us here on the show, but go ahead.
Excellent, but I actually went to the Career Center here. So this is where I was introduced into computer programming.
Right.
Enjoyed that. So after I graduated from high school, I went to Purdue University.
Nice.
Where I continued my education in computer information systems.
Right.
Went on to work in corporate America until I retired in 2017.
No, there's no way you retired. Well, I mean, you deserve it, but I'm just saying, really? I mean, you don't look that. You don't look like your retirement age.
Well, I'm not.
Okay.
But I was for that company.
I like your style.
Yeah, so I retired in 2017 just so I can focus on around-the-clock ambulance.
Well, obviously you were in computers, so kind of, bring us up to speed on what made you kind of go into this? Were you always kind of looking for something to be entrepreneurial in, or did you kind of have an instance that maybe was a little close to home that made you actually look at ambulance providing services? How did you get into this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I do mentoring as well. So I tell everybody, always look for the opportunity.
Right.
Always keep your mind open for opportunities. So I had a cousin, family member who was doing wheelchair service. So as I was in corporate America, I saw the kind of the handwriting on the wall.
Yeah.
And the handwriting on the wall said, go into your own business,
right?
Because you can control your destiny that way.
Right.
So as I got involved with my cousin, we did wheelchair service for the Northwest Indiana.
Now explain what wheelchair service is. What does that look like?
Go ahead. So we pick up patients that are wheelchair bound or that can ambulate or move.
Yeah.
So we did that for Lake County, Porter, LaPorte, St. Joe counties.
Wow.
And in a couple of years after I retired and became a part of the company, I converted it over to ambulance service.
Yeah.
So we no longer do the wheelchair portion.
So you were basically like a medical transportation service, and then you once you were able to devote your time full time, you said, let's step this up to ambulatory.
Yeah, the ambulance. Absolutely. Yeah. And we stepped it up. And so not only do we do Lake County, Porter, and St. Joe counties, we actually just converted, now moved into Indianapolis.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we're moving forward, David, and Jeffrey, and then what we're doing here is trying to make sure that we know that our patients, we see you when you're at your worst. Right. But you have a choice. We have contracts with many of the hospitals out here.
Yeah, the medical providers.
Many of the nursing home facilities out here. But other companies have similar contracts.
Right.
So you have a choice as a patient.
Now, let me ask you this, kind of bring us behind the curtain, because this is a curiosity of me, because from the outside looking in, as you said, that it seems as if that the playing field for that kind of business is absolutely uber competitive and almost somewhat political because, as you said, it's about politics. And because a lot of us, and I've had to go through it in my own personal experience, when you're dialing, whether it be 911 or what have you, you don't necessarily get a menu, a list of a menu to be able to say, you know what, I like that company, I want to use them. They kind of defer. Whoever's working that contract is the service that you are provided. So how did you kind of break through? Because that seems like it would be, that's a story in itself. So you got to tell me about that.
Sure. So when it comes down to 911 service, you make that phone call and say, look, I'm having... something's wrong. Right. I got to get a service out here. So Gary, we support 911 for
E911, right?
E911. So when you make that phone call, Gary Fire Department is going to respond first.
Yeah.
If Gary Fire Department can't respond or they're tied up, then they will call me.
Okay.
See? So we have to have a relationship with Gary Fire Department.
Right.
Now on top of that, your nursing homes, facilities, we have again multiple contracts with many of the ones that are around here. And when you call and you have one of your relatives or loved ones in a facility, if they need transportation, they may say, hey, we prefer XYZ company, not ATC, but the other one.
Right.
You have a choice. So you get to say, I want around the clock ambulance service to come pick me up. So I want your listeners to really understand that they have that choice to pick who they want. 911, not so much, because you want, in an emergency situation, you want somebody there right away.
Exactly. No, I really want to delve into this, and then we're kind of get into the services you provide, because I think, as you said, we're pulling back the curtain on this thing, because I want you to kind of talk about it, how you were building this, because here's the questions that I have. Once again, it's uber competitive. So you literally have to have people on your staff, yourself included, that are out here, number one, know how to kind of make presentations and things like that, because here comes this newbie into the thing. And, as I said, I mean, you're trying to set up a business plan with some guaranteed income in order to kind of build it. You need these contracts in order to kind of pay your staff, have your overhead, pay for the ambulances. And so you got to go out here and really pound the pavement. And, I didn't make my LaPorte comment because we always take shots at LaPorte on this show. But I appreciate you going out to LaPorte, and now you're working down in Indianapolis. So what's the legwork like on that? Because we talk entrepreneur, we talk about people who own businesses. This is some work, it seemed like, in order to establish this. You've been on the pavement.
Yeah, Jeffrey. This year is 9 years for us.
Wow.
As a company, next year will be the 10th year. We want to
Congratulations.
do something special.
Yeah.
The groundwork, as you mentioned, is phenomenal. You have to go and you have to be likable.
Yeah.
You have to get in front of the right decision makers, and that's the thing. And you have to present a service. Now, I am minority black owned, certified.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be considered as just a black company. I want to be the best company.
That's why that's exactly the mentality we have on this show. That's why I didn't bring up about what was it like getting into this as a black man, because I want to know how you got into this as a person trying to get into this, because I think red, black, green, or brown, whatever, it's just uber competitive on this ambulatory type of playing field. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And then, of course, you are a black man, but, there's still that. But what kind of staff do you have?
So, great. So the one that I have running the company is a 30-year vet from Gary Fire Department.
Okay.
And she just is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Her name is Tia. So many of the folks around here know her. She's a teacher, educator, but she's passionate about people.
Right.
And our motto is neighbors caring for neighbors.
Yeah.
And so she embodies that.
Yeah.
And makes sure that our employees handle that. So we have over 30 EMTs and paramedics that work for us.
Wow.
And so we expand and stretch that. In fact, I'll put a plug in for anybody that you know, or you a relative, anybody know, we are hiring for EMTs. We are hiring for paramedics. We are always hiring.
Now, let me ask you this, because you can just tell my mind is just absolutely racing, because this is amazing right now. So, was your background in corporate America give you the confidence to go out? Because what I'm hearing, and what it appears that you and your relative who started with the transportation service, when you kind of devoted full time to this and stepped it up, this is very CEO board of directors. You're not a guy that doesn't have a background in this. However, you're smart enough to know how to go out here and recognize talent and be attractive enough to that talent to put this team together that has been able to, stay together and thrive for 9 years. So how did you kind of go out here once again in a profession, in a field that you didn't, you weren't necessarily involved in, and then go out here and be able to pluck the young lady who came from the fire department and now have all these EMTs and people working for you. I've just got to know how you did that.
Jeffrey, a great question. And so my years at the Fortune 500 company that I spent time at really prepared me to go out and speak to executive level folks. So when I got the ground running, I got what we call our medical protocol from Methodist Hospital. So Methodist, they regulate how we operate.
Right.
So that was a conversation, and so just so happened we had a great doctor in there. He was able to get me on as a medical in my medical direction. So from there we talked contracts, and there we moved on to other facilities and talking contracts. But my experience, and that's what, and you mentioned something in your first segment about this microwave generation that we're in. Nothing is as quick. You have to spend time, but if you go to work, work for somebody, and you think that you want to be an entrepreneur, the thing you want to do is get as much information as you can from them. Be able to leverage that information and use it in your entrepreneurial world. And so that's what I try to teach when I coach young individuals. Hey, go to work.
You need to coach all ages.
Well, we do. We do. We have a mentoring program that we exist. So we do a lot of things, but more importantly, yes, that's the important part. Make sure you can get in front of these people, have the confidence to speak.
There you go. I like that.
Confidence to go in front of somebody, but believe in what you're doing. If you don't believe in it, nobody else will. And so when we went forward and got in front of some of those folks that when it comes down to talk contract, when it comes down to say, hey, use my service. Why? Because we're a family-friendly service. We're on time.
I like that.
We're on time. And that's one of the biggest complaints about ambulance services, that they're not on time.
Now let me. We're going to get into that, because I want to ask you. I want to kind of finish up where we're talking about, what you're building and what you built when you first started this. Because one of the other things that I would assume that I'm pretty much certain that you have to have in a business that's going out here being very ambitious as you are, and you would know this coming from corporate America's culture. And that comes from the top down. And so how did you, when you came over there, I mean, when you're bringing in these people who come from other walks of life, and they're coming into this endeavor, what was it like this first couple of months? I mean, what was the culture? How did you come? Because, listen, I talked with a young lady who's a friend of ours here who owns a restaurant, Miss Jocelyn Kelly. I'll give her a shout out, TEDx Gary 23 tomorrow. But we talk about, culture. Sometimes everybody's not coming with you. You can go out here and try to bring people in, but they just don't fit. It's not that they're bad people. You just have to have that conversation. Say, listen, good luck with what you're doing. We're going to move on and go somewhere else. And I'm sure you understand that coming from corporate America. So was that your attitude that you brought in to this endeavor when you first came over after retiring?
Yeah, I brought a lot of talents in, and that was one of them. Understanding how to build the culture, right? So the culture I wanted is family friendly. Right? And if you know how you're born into a family, you can't control that. But the way the hired family that you bring, you can control that. And so the culture is built such that I don't have to manage that culture now, because the culture manages itself. If you don't fit within the top level, which is Tia, my director, and everybody below her, you will weed yourself. I don't fire anybody. You just
you wash out.
You wash out. You leave on your own. So if you don't fit in this family, then that's fine. There's other families that you may fit in. But this is a family. And then when we go and pick up our patients, we want them to feel that family. We want you to call us because you know it's family. And I don't know if people call in, but with some of the patients that we've had some family members that just give us money, say, we enjoy you already paid for this. Well, no, I know I paid for the service, but you guys, I want to give you something special. And if giving us something special, where we given to my employees, where they went on and it had a lunch or dinner, something like that. But that's the type of thing, Jeffrey, that we want to build and continue to build in our community. This is our community. I'm born and raised here. The people that come pick you up are folks that live in your community. Right? So that's why we say neighbors are caring for neighbors. Because Miss Johnson next door, you know her because you live next to her for 20 years.
Absolutely. Now, before we kind of get into what your services provide and how that, let's finish talking about how you built this. Bring me into, when you purchased the first ambulance, and what was that like? Because obviously these things have to meet standards. They have to be fitted. They have to have certain regulations that they meet. And so what was that like? I mean, you're going out, I mean, these are not cheap vehicles.
No. Yeah, that should be it.
They're not cheap.
You must have saw the invoice. Okay. But no, so the first, I bought 2 ambulances up front. And here's a story I do like to tell. My wife is just a soldier.
Yes.
Right? When I told her I wanted to retire this cushy job that I've been in for over 23 years.
She's got to be a soldier to jump into the deep end of the pool.
Jump into the deep end of the pool, but she trusts me enough, right, to know that if I said I can do it, then we can get it done. So she allowed me to do it. So
look at you. She allowed that. You know what show you're on. This is for married folk.
For married folk. That's right. That's married folk. And so we took some money.
Yeah.
And I bought 2 ambulances to start with.
Wow.
So we did those were used ambulances, nothing special, but they meet standards.
Yeah.
So we had to, of course, state has to come down. We're regulated by Homeland Security.
Yes, you are.
So they come down, they inspected it, and we got running right away.
Wow.
I was the first driver on the ambulance.
Why
I'm
not
an EMT, a paramedic, but I was the first driver.
It's your ambulance.
My ambulance, and I wanted to make sure that it got happy. So we bought that, and then as time went on, now we've added 10 to the fleet. So
wow.
Yes.
So you're running with like 12 ambulances now.
Well, we're running 10. So you get kind of move stuff in and out. But man, and it's like you said, it's not cheap. I wish some of my guys would not bump into stuff that doesn't exist. But at any rate, I have a great group of guys.
Yeah.
And anybody that's listening right now, if you want to have your relative or family member picked up by around the clock ambulance, you won't be disappointed.
And so also let us know now, help me understand that is, okay, so now you've got the ambulances and things like that. Let's get into, without opening your books to the entire public, of course, let us, insurance. I've talked to people, whether it be, I've got friends who are doctors that get a little intimidated with the way you have to deal with insurance in order to receive payment because, once again, you've got to receive payment in order to go out here and pay your employees and maintain your fleet and everything that's required of you. So what was that like kind of getting started? Was that a little overwhelming for you or were you kind of used to it coming from corporate America? Because it seems like it would be overwhelming.
Yeah, you don't get used to that.
Okay.
Because insurances we are probably contracted with maybe 20 to 30 different insurances.
You have to.
But to get authorized with all of those insurances, all of them have things and hoops that you have to jump into.
Right.
Told you I was my first driver.
Yeah.
I was my first biller.
Yeah.
After getting rejected and said, no, that's not right. But they don't tell you how to get paid.
Right.
You have to figure out what you did wrong.
Now, did you have to go out here and kind of get back into the books and things like that? Because I would assume, because as we started off this conversation, you had a vision for who you wanted to make yourselves available to. Obviously, you're trying to serve as many people as you can, but you definitely wanted to make yourself accessible to a certain demographic and things like that. So how did you go out? I mean, because you got to be able to navigate Medicare, Medicaid, and then obviously people who have personal insurances and then things like that. So, that's kind of what I'm asking. I mean, was that landscape kind of a little bit tricky?
So the good thing about Medicaid is that they will put you on a list. And so...
Do they make you jump over hoops to get on that list?
Medicaid is a little simpler.
Okay, good.
Medicare is a little more. But we've navigated all of them.
Yeah.
We've gotten through all of those things. And the reason why the company was named Around the Clock was to put it on top of the list anyway.
Yeah.
So when you go searching for ambulance companies,
you're A.
You can see A.
I like it.
So
you're a smart man.
I can't
Where'd
take
you go
all
to
the credit
school
for that.
again?
I went to Purdue University.
No, I was talking about other.
Oh, yeah, definitely Gary Westside.
No, go ahead, finish, please.
But yeah, so navigating those things, it did take some time, but we got through it.
Yeah.
Some trial and error. So now but I was doing all the billing. Now we took it externally. So now we have a billing company that we use. So to help us navigate more, because it's always changing litigation, changing things in different insurances that it's tough to keep up with when I'm trying to manage and how to grow the business differently.
Now, do you kind of handle that, or do you have a person now at this point that you've hired that's kind of specialized to keep an eye on that?
I have a person that's specialized to do that.
You've got a corporate American background, Blake. Yes, you do. Let's get into your business, though, because I know we're pressed for time. So talk to us about your services. As you stated earlier, you can be, I guess a person does have choices Obviously not the E911 thing, but after that, if I'm sitting over in a senior care facility, if I'm in a nursing home, if I'm in hospice, I can ask for you.
Yes, you can. And so, and the way you do that is say, nurse, I want you to call 219-879-1039.
Yeah.
Again, that's 1039. Let's get 219-879-1039. And that's where you'll call. You'll speak directly to my dispatchers. They will take your, just how it works.
Right.
Is that they will talk to you, and you have to be bedbound.
Yes.
To be qualified, or as they say, medically necessary for an ambulance ride.
Yeah.
So we'll talk you through that when you call that number.
Yeah, you're not a bus service.
Even we're not a bus service. We're not an Uber service. Unfortunately, we get those calls too. Can you take me shopping? We're not in this environment. But we can handle you if something goes wrong, and we're here for you. So, but yeah, call that service. We'll walk you through what you need. We'll talk to your doctor for you to make sure that you're medically necessary and qualified to ride on an ambulance.
Yeah.
And then from there we'll pick you up. But don't let anybody tell you that, hey, we are only contracted with this one, we can only use that one. That's not true. You have a choice.
You know what I'm going to do after we get off? I've got to. This is what we do on the show. We bring things together. I got my guy. You probably know Jose, but he's over in the next building in Career. I just got to take you down there because, I've talked about it on the show. There's a new program that was the inaugural program that's just started over at the Career Center this semester, and it's a EMT program. And so the Gary Fire Department and the training guy, he's over there. He brings the ambulances and things like that. After we get off, I'm running you over there real quick. You gotta go. I've got to introduce you.
What we want to do is we've had young folks like that.
Perfect.
That I've taken from other communities that we have brought in to ride on our ambulance to see if that's a career you want to do. Yeah. So that's what we definitely love.
And what's so cool about what's going on here in the district is that these young people, they can't go and be firemen, but they will complete their EMT program, and you're the perfect kind of storyline to kind of talk to them, or at least pick them up, because once again, you're talking about employment and opportunities with your company.
And bring them on, because we can raise them up, we can grow them. And I actually send folks to EMT or paramedic school.
Yeah.
If they come in as a driver, right? If they come in as a driver, they show the aptitude, they show the desire to want to do it, I'll send them to school to complete.
All right, yeah. So we need you, once again, give us a phone number because we got to do stuff.
Well, you need a phone number, no problem. So it's 219-879-1039. Make that phone call today. If you need you or your relative to be picked up in an ambulance service, if you think you need that service, we'll walk you through it. We'll talk you through it. We'll call your insurance. We'll verify all of that for you. You don't need to do any of that.
Oh my goodness. I really enjoyed this conversation, my brother. I'm going to, I want to talk to you on the show. Hopefully I don't need your services anytime soon. But
well, you do, we're there for you.
I know, I'm calling you. I know now what to do. But I really want to just say this has been a pleasure. Yeah. I definitely am a supporter. I wish you well. I think your story is exactly what, young people should hear. I think we need more of that. I'm talking about people who even want to switch careers and have dreams of their own.
Absolutely.
I think you represent discipline, hard work, and I'm glad you're successful. And I know next year is 10 years, but I'm going to say congratulations now.
Absolutely. And Jeff, can I say one more thing? I hate to say, I would be remiss if I didn't say hello to my Judy Dunlap. She's on the school board in Maryville.
Absolutely. She's a friend of ours.
She's a friend of ours. Well, that's my mom.
Oh, man.
And we served together on that school board.
Yeah. So you're a Maryville guy.
Well, I'm a Maryville guy. I'm a Northwest Indiana guy.
You're a region rat, we call it. Right? Exactly.
I mean, I got to say hi to my dad.
Yeah,
Alex Dunlap Jr., they call him Grandmaster Dunlap.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't be who I am without those folks. And then my little sister, which is a teacher over there at Westside Leadership Academy.
Yeah,
so
look at you. We like Miss Dunlap. Had her on the show. In my previous shows, she used to come on a couple of times. And so we follow her all the time. She's a friend of ours. So good stuff. I'm glad that now I can see exactly where all this comes from.
Comes from a little stock. Good stock. Okay.
Good breeding stock, those Dunlaps.
And my wife, Delynn.
Oh, Dunlap. Yeah, you better know.
Love you.
You better know. All right, there you go. All right. We're going to get ready to take a break. We want to thank Alex for coming on. We'll be back in just a little bit, and then, of course, get you updated once again, weather and traffic, get you updated with the news, and then, of course, as always, phone calls on this wonderful Thursday. You're listening to Wake Up GI with Jeffrey Smith right here, 88.7 FM, WGVE.